Started off as a BBB ambassador. I've always believed in everything that the BBB stands for. So I came on board a little over a year ago, and I absolutely love what we are doing throughout the community. Like Michelle said, serving 19 counties, that's a big, it's a big to-do list, but we are so grateful, and it's because of accredited businesses like yourselves that we're able to continue. So we'll get started, and thanks to our Facebook friends who are watching us live. We appreciate you being here so very much. So let's get this going, y'all. First and foremost, as I mentioned, we're small but mighty. We were super grateful and so humbled to have been awarded, even though it's a little grainy. I did the best that I could here.
Good job, you did great.
Sorry. We were awarded by the Tyler Chamber of Commerce Small Business of the Year. Wow, comes at a perfect time, being that we're celebrating our 40th anniversary this coming year. Just so much goodness going on here, and we're so grateful that you all are a part of that. Seriously, it just makes us so happy. So we just wanted to bring that up, not tooting our own horn, but we're very, grateful. So, and humble for sure. So we're on our next to the last one. We're super excited. Like I said, this is just so important and informative what DataMax is doing for us today. And then Nancy Rangel, which I love how you say her last name, Michelle.
Oh, Rangel.
Rangel. She will be with us next month for our very last one on strategic alliances. So here's the QR code if you all would like to register for that. Make sure that that happens. I need to give a massive, huge shout out to our VIP and our sponsors. Like I said, y'all, I'm going to send a follow-up email after all this, like I do all the times with all the different links. If you are interested in partnering with us, this would be such a wonderful time to do it, being that we will be celebrating a lot this coming year. So we would love to partner with you all and basically have your business logo and name everywhere the BBB is. That's what it's about. So
that would drive business to me, I can't handle it.
let us help you to help us help you. So our upcoming, oh my gosh, our shred day that just passed at Drug Emporium in Longview this last Saturday, we had, I think it was a record-breaking one for out there. We had over 200 cars come through. Lots. We haven't got the weight yet back from Shred It, which I'm working on getting that information, but it was super successful, y'all. I mean, it's just growing every year. The next one is we're going to partner with our Lindale Chamber family again this year on October 23rd. Again, huge thank you to our sponsors as well as our VIPs for allowing us to do this and continually making, and it's free. Y'all didn't know it's free for everyone. So that one's coming up. This one's a little blurry, sorry, I apologize, but just letting you know it's on November the 9th. That will be our last one of the year. It's out at the Olympic Center at UT Health. Last year was a great time. I mean, y'all come on out, bring your stuff, and if you this is a good one. We're always looking to recruit ambassadors. We have recently had some amazing ambassadors come on board with us, and we're so grateful for them. I mean, they are our extra reach and our extra arms out in the community. Like she said, as the areas that we can't physically get to, they are the eyes and ears for the BBB, and they're advocates, and they're just so steadfast, and we're so grateful for them. So if you'd like more information on how to potentially possibly become an ambassador, there's a QR code there. We will be doing Ambassadors of the Year, which will be presented at the meeting, and like I said, it's just so great. That's how I started out here, and I absolutely love being a part of it. Still doing our spotlight, our accredited business spotlight with Mix 93.1. John was here last month, such a great guy. If y'all haven't done that yet, how many have we had so far, Michelle, did you say?
I think nearly 75 or something like that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And it's free for accredited businesses. So I want y'all to make sure and take full advantage of that. Tells you a little bit about it. Like I said, I'll send you all the details in our follow-up email so that y'all will have all the information. But we're so grateful for our partnership with them on this. It's really been awesome. Same with our Blockbuster Impact, the cinema advertising as well. Looks like everyone's going back to the movies, which is awesome. I mean, COVID put a nail in the coffin for a lot of businesses, and I was worried about the movie industry as well, but it looks like people are thriving, starting to go back to movies, and I'm so glad to see that because I love going to movies. But here's another opportunity for you as well. listing all the different pricing and what it entails, how many impressions, which is what it's all about, you know, how much visibility you get, you know. So we're grateful for the partnership with them on that. Now I'm going to introduce, and then afterwards we're going to do just a little trivia for some free stuff, which is all right. Today we are super excited. Like I said, it's so informative and so important. We've got Lee Weiss with Datamax with us today. A 23-year veteran in the technical IT sales and IT management arenas. Wow, that's amazing. Lee Weiss works to streamline, secure, and simplify organizations' IT environments while helping them achieve business objectives through technology best practices. Lee currently serves as the Account Development Manager for Datamax Texas. Previous to his current role, Lee served as an IT manager in without laughing, an LAN. What is that?
Local area network.
Woo! Thank you for that.
As opposed to WAN.
I got you. See, learning something new every day. Thank you for that. Administrator, he continues to work closely with business owners, C-level executives, and IT directors in planning, designing, and implementing strategic IT landscapes. At Datamax, he manages a team of enterprise solutions specialists in both Texas and Arkansas, wow, that introduce businesses to the organization's TechCare, managed IT services, and ComCare, unified communications engagements. His acumen for enhanced cybersecurity measures helps his clients navigate an increasingly sophisticated and torrent security environment. So if y'all don't mind, help me welcome Lee Weiss with Datamax. There you go. You can just zip it. Zip it. Thank you for being here again, Lee. We really appreciate y'all.
So I appreciate you guys being here today. Do I need to get on mic?
No, you're good. This is a good job. Thank you.
So I appreciate you guys being here today. Cybersecurity is one of those buzzwords. I don't know if there's a true definition. It means so many different things to so many different organizations and circumstances. So today, ultimately, we've got an hour, so we're gonna touch the surface. We're not gonna get too deep dive in. We're just gonna kind of talk about it. If you have questions, interrupt me, stop me, ask. It won't hurt my feelings in the slightest. I may have seen this presentation once or twice before, so I probably can get back on track. So, more than happy to answer questions. And again, afterwards, if anybody wants to chat and ask questions after the fact as well. So we'll go ahead and kind of jump in and get into it a little bit here. So one of the things I do want to point out, and believe it or not, it's actually fairly recent. I want to say it's only been 5 years now that the FBI...
Is that okay? Can y'all see better? Is that good, the glare?
The FBI has actually added a cybercrime division. They didn't have one up until about 5, maybe 6 years ago, somewhere in that area. What's that? 2018. So it's a fairly new division. They're doing a lot of good. But the point is, somebody mentioned a few minutes ago about cybercrime is on the rise. It ain't going away. And COVID, it just exacerbated it. I saw a statistic, and I apologize, I can't remember where it was and who the credit goes to. But it was, there were more breaches in the United States in the second half of 2020 than all of 2019 and 18 combined. It means more than 4 times as many if you do the quick math.
I just, to tell you, last year before, 2022, one of my largest clients is over in DC, Maryland. And I was their MSP and cybersecurity. They're a healthcare consultant who work with companies like Lloyd, Booz Allen, DOD, Department of Navy. We had to actually secure systems with biometrics, to work with their service. My point is that this was a retired Navy captain that came out and he put together a consulting firm, so they were basically a startup. But they were able to get these contracts, so they went into the multi-million-dollar level pretty quick. The point is, they were not a target at their, or they didn't think they were a target at their level. And this is, like I said, 2022. Everything today, as you know, is moving away from the big boys because they're finding it harder and harder to breach. They're too hard of a target. Now they're coming down here to mid-level, low-level businesses because they're much easier to reach. And so, yeah, you better get your guns up. I don't care if you're a mom and pop organization. If they think they can pull, $10,000, $20,000 out of it, they will.
Yeah.
You're the target. You're the.
So
Absolutely.
more than 50%, or it's right at around 50% of all cybercrime is targeted towards small to mid-sized businesses. So that's why we're here today.
Well, and I'll tell you, it's even, there's even a step worse than that to some degree, because one of the shifts that we've seen is they don't care. They don't even know who you are. Most of the time, they're just taking a block of IP addresses and putting it into a scanner and seeing which one responds and seeing what they can get into. So anybody that thinks they're too small to be a target, you're not. In
Yeah.
fact, they don't even care who the company is that they're trying to breach or hack until they've successfully done it, so that they know what price tag to put on it.
Exactly.
And many companies will shut down within 6 months after this happens.
Absolutely. So it is absolutely a real threat out there, and it's just, that's why security is all about layering. It's not, there is no silver bullet, there's no one secret sauce, it is about layering. Unfortunately, as my right-hand slide here talks about, there are still a lot of people that just don't understand it, don't think that it's their problem, you know,
Never happened to
they feel
them.
like it'll never happen to me, exactly. And so if y'all remember the Peanuts cartoons, when we're up here talking, a lot of times, I think the audience here, they're not really hearing. So, you know, I'm going to implore you guys to please, if you have a question, ask it. I promise somebody else has asked it before, somebody's going to ask it again. There aren't any dumb questions here. We have a complete range of expertise in the room of IT versus all the way to not having any expertise on IT. So you're not going to, please ask if you have questions.
All right, I have a question.
Sure.
So why do we get all this emails and the text messages and the spam calls, and it's constantly? I mean, are they able to get something if we respond to their email, if we answer their call?
Because people are paying money.
Wow. Paying, like if they call and they're like,
So-
oh, please help me, and somebody's like, oh, let me hand you money.
So, so fishing, which we're going to get into a little bit later in this, and I'll just tell you a quick story. My mom, who should know that, last year received a text message from one of her good friends. She was in the hospital. It was her nephew's birthday. She couldn't do anything to go get it. She asked my mom if she could just go to Walmart and get a gift card for him. My mom said, sure, no problem. It's a good friend of hers from church. So she went and got it. Now, of course, scratch off the back and just give me the numbers, and I'll just pass it on to him, and he can go buy whatever he wants to buy. And she did it. So then she said, oh, my niece's birthday is coming up also in a couple of weeks. Can you go grab another one? So the first one was a $200 gift card. Second one was a $200 gift card. And my mom did it again. And then when she asked for the third one for a friend who just happened to have a birthday coming up, she started finally getting suspicious. She was afraid to call me, because she's right. So she called my son and said, do you think this is real? She said, absolutely not. You need to call Dad. And all said and done, it wasn't her friend. It was a scam.
But they can't get into any of our information if we respond to them or nothing, right?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
And
So don't respond, just
we're going
delete.
to get to some of that here in a minute, so I can show you on the screen. So kind of table that for the moment, but yes, responding can be very dangerous, especially because, well, let me get to that here in a minute, because it'll be better on the screen, and I want to set some foundation and groundwork first.
A prime example of what you mean by that is your contact, the whole reason, the friend of his mother's, they got that through a contact, through a superficial breach into your contact somewhere. So that you would know who, my dad had the same
Where's somebody else's contact?
Yeah.
Same thing happened to him. My dad finally, he called me on the phone. That is exactly what happened. He got a text message from his friend saying, hey, I just got this grant for $50,000 for whatever. And hey, just go to this site. My dad's on the site talking to people. My mom's calling me. Your dad got the whole land yet. No, you don't understand. This is a brother, and he knows we somewhere, and he's already gotten paid off this site. I get him in on the phone and said, Dad, hang your phone. Or here, let me talk to the guy. And he puts it, of course, I don't hang up. I tell him that's exact. I said, call your friend. If he just texts you, call him and ask him if he just sent you a text. He's going to tell you that. Is there any grant out there that's going to charge you a fee? They don't, that's their first clue. They're trying to charge you a fee to get a grant. No.
Absolutely. So I mentioned earlier we're going to talk about castles a little bit. So obviously the FBI has a major area of investigation now with the cybersecurity, cyber crimes. This is not just a problem for IT. One of the highest numbers of breaches come from the employees. It's clicking on the free pizza. I got an email for a free Domino's pizza this week. It's National Pizza Week, whatever the case is. It's clicking on those links that is really the true hazard and risk. So I want to go back and talk about the castle for a minute here. We all remember, or if we're not old enough to remember, we've heard stories a generation or two ago, it wasn't that long ago, they didn't lock their front doors of their houses, right? Front door was open because it was safe. And then we found out there were some unscrupulous people out there that were willing to walk in an unlocked door, and so we started locking the doors. And that stopped some people, but then we found out people were willing to break a lock, so we started putting in alarms. And then we found out there were people that can get through an alarm. And so those of us who had castles, not me, you know, all of a sudden now they're putting a moat around the castle, and they're putting a drawbridge in, and they got armed security, and
Alligator.
all these things, exactly. And all of that is great. It's layering security is absolutely what we want to do. But if we unlock the door and open the door and let them walk in, all of that security is for naught. And it's the same thing with 19 network. So if we have all the security layers in place, but we're clicking the link in that email that was sent that gives them unfettered access,
That's Larry.
we just bypass all the security we took the time to put in. So
now
that's
we
why
can't
it's
even open the email.
Right. That's why it's absolutely essential that we invest the time in hardening our employees through education. So whenever we're bringing on a client, we have a live in-person, similar to what we're doing today, of cybersecurity training, just to kind of get the ball rolling, get it started, get people to start paying attention and understanding it.
We deployed Novi for it up in DC.
Novi for it? Yeah. We use Nova4, and we're in the process of changing to a different platform, but yeah, same platform. So Nova4 is a phishing platform. So basically, your employees receive an email once a month, once a week. It's up to you to set the frequency on it. But it's a fake phishing email. The idea is that if they click on that one, they're probably potentially clicking on the ones that are real as well. If you click on it, you get assigned training. But the training is really more about awareness. It's what do we look for? What should be raising a red flag? And we're going to see some of that here coming up. Educate, educate, educate. I cannot stress it enough. It's got to be as important as the security that's put into place. Because once again, you can bypass all that security without the education. Unfortunately, frequent attitude from the IT side of the world is, let's just fix the problem, throw more hardware and software at it. And though that does help, again, back to layering, we still have to focus on the education of the people. Also, the IT people, they are at a different level, the people that are trained in IT. And they get frustrated with, well, why would you click on that? It's obvious. And they shouldn't. But it is what it is. And then you've got the end user attitude. Remember, want, right? That's all they're hearing. They're not hearing those good pieces of advice. Everybody gets busy. Somebody said earlier, threats aren't real until somebody gets hurt. I don't know what happened to me. Another thing we have to remember is we can put the organization through that training and make awareness, but there's turnover. Let's not forget about those new people that come in. We've got to make sure that they're getting that same education, getting that same training. And then, of course, help each other. If you have an email that you're not sure of, there's another set of eyes on it. Preferably IT. If you have an IT department, you know, that's their job to be looking at that and identifying if this is an actual bad actor or if it's a valid email. So what was your name?
Max.
Max. As Max said earlier, pick up the phone.
Leah, I was going to mention an example real quick. I got an email on the Texas unclaimed property, and I'm like, this does not look right. I mean, I'm like, so I went to Joe, who's amazing here at our offices, and I said, does this look right to you? I mean, because I didn't want to open anything. I didn't want, and he said, as long as it has the .gov, that's normally pretty safe, if you will. Is that accurate?
If it is truly .gov.
Exactly, it's not spooky.
So
It's
if
not
we're,
what?
if we're going to actually see some.
Okay,
this
sorry, I
may
just wanted to
actually-
bring that
No,
example
it's a
up,
great
you know.
point. It's a great
Yeah.
point.
He
You
said
know,
I had money. I'm like, oh.
unfortunately, it's easy, fairly easy
Yes.
to make
Very.
the email look like it's coming from a credible source when it is in fact not coming from a credible source as well. And so we're going to show you some ways to kind of pay attention to that as well. So this was social engineering attacks seek to exploit human behaviors. It's temptation, fear. Oh, I've got pictures of you, and if I don't get X number of dollars, I'm going to put them out on the internet. Or I have access to your computer, and I've seen your browsing history, and I took a picture of that, and I'm going to send it out to all your friends.
I like the one with the FBI. If you don't send us some money, we're gonna come arrest you for whatever it is you've been on the internet. I'm going, yeah, no, they just show up.
But fear factor does play a big
That's funny.
piece of it. You know, we're human nature. Responding to corporate executives is another great example of pick up the phone. If a CEO, CFO, somebody sends you an email, sends you a text message, asking you to go do something on their behalf that incurs cost or giving out of information, pick up the phone. I bet Michelle wouldn't be upset at all if somebody called her and said, hey, you asked me to go buy 10 gift cards. Was it really you?
It happens all the time, right? Shawana gets those calls, yeah.
Pick up the phone. It's the easiest way. And don't use the phone number listed in the email.
We had somebody, it was a few years ago, and if you think about the logic about this, you wouldn't, you know, if you step back, you'd be like, I would never have done that. But there was a company, I guess, they were saying they were a nonprofit, and they wanted her to go buy all this stuff from Walmart and have it shipped. So she bought all this stuff and had it shipped. Why would somebody need to do that? But she did do that. She ended up, over time, she lost about $30,000 by sending this many products. She didn't call us until later on, right? Until she caught on, like, I don't think this is right. And she'd lost it, because once you send it, it's gone.
Right.
So
No getting it back.
you always need to verify. And that was her retirement, you know, part of her retirement. So, yeah,
Trust but verify.
yeah.
You know, if that's how you want to go. I don't trust.
You know, you're talking about emails. We had something that happened in my office yesterday. got a young woman that came in at a receptionist type deal, and I'm trying to teach her some accounting issues. So I had her back there working. She picks up the phone, and I noticed that it said unavailable, you know, and it's an 888 number. And I just tell them, you know, it's okay to hang up. You don't have to engage with this. But I've told them, and many, many times, never say okay, never say yes, never answer a question. Don't get involved on the phone. Next thing I know, she's involved, and I said, Shauna, who are you talking to? And she picked up, and I said, excuse me. And I walked over and I said, who are you talking to? It's somebody that's sending us magazines. And I hit the click button. I said, no, we don't give any information. You said yes 3 times. We do not say yes. Because even just, and they may have been a legit, want to send me a magazine person, but we don't need their magazine. If we wanted it, we'd solicit for it, you know? And it's like, it's those little things that you think are okay to say that are not okay.
You know, on that topic, have y'all heard about deepfake videos and deepfake audio now?
Yes.
So, AI is taking our voices and using it to create a whole entire different talk track. So if you are taking these phone calls, and you spend a significant amount of time talking to them, they're recording that voice, and then they can re-send out whatever they want to say.
Oh my goodness.
They're creating an AI vocabulary.
I just heard, give me 1 second, I might see it. I just heard a story, it was on the news, but basically, grandmother received a phone call from their grandchild. Hey, I just got arrested, I need bail money, can you send me money? And it's big. Come on, you know your grandkid's voice, right? You know your grandparents' voice, your sister's voice, your brother's voice. So they were convinced that it was real, but it was an AI-generated voice on the other end of the phone.
What?
And sure enough, sent a money order, and you know, the next day, calls the grandkid, everything worked out. With what? And it was, you know, all of a sudden there was $10,000
Oh my gosh.
that this person just sent. They thought they were sending to the grandchild.
Oh my
One of the recommendations they're saying now is talk to your families and have a code word.
Oh yes.
Whatever it
So
is.
smart.
It could be anything. It could be
So
a
smart.
watermelon.
Yeah.
It could be anything. We try to teach our kids to not get in a car with somebody that they don't know. And if they, you know, how many times that was a big deal when I was little. It was, you know, if somebody comes to pick you up, they have to know this code word. They have to have this phrase. We should be doing the same thing now because AI has made it to the point where you can't even trust your own ears and eyes, I hate to say. And look, I don't want to sit here today and just make everybody afraid. That's not my goal. Because there are things to look for to help identify and prevent those things, like code words.
Yes.
Go home, talk to your kids, talk to your grandkids, get a code word set up.
Yes.
Whether it's getting into a car, whether it's sending me money, whatever it is, it's not a bad idea.
But you have to be careful even on your code word. You know, don't pick your pet, don't pick your color, don't pick your, you know, anything that's out there in social media because they're going to try that.
The positive note, though, is there's so much that the odds of getting the right word the first time is slim.
True.
But yes, I don't disagree.
It's the numbers, yeah.
It could be rudimentary, rather, make it something strange. Yes, ma'am.
When you just brought something to my attention, I know that's what it was with my husband the other day. You were talking about the AI generated voice messages. One day last week, my husband received a phone call, and the voice said, "Can I get your name, please?" And my husband was like, "What?" And he said, "Do you mind telling me your name?" And my husband said, "No, I'm not telling you my name." And he hung the phone up.
Yep.
And I just wonder if that was maybe like one of those things that was trying to get to him to say his name. And he called me and he said, "I just got the weirdest phone call." And he told me, I said, "You didn't tell him anything, did you?" And he was like, "No, I hung up on him." I'm like, "Good job, good job." But
So that's what they let in with is what is your name?
that was the first, and see, that's what
Yeah.
grabbed his attention. He was like, you
Not
call
even
me.
hello or, yeah.
You know, you call me, you should know who you're calling.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, can you tell me your name, please? And he was like, what? Can you tell me your name, please? He's like, no, I'm not telling you my name. And he hung up on him. But I just,
Absolutely.
that's good.
Who's got the phone call? I'm with XYZ Roofing Company, and
Yeah.
we're roofing your area. Would you like a free assessment? And then they ask for your address.
But you're in my area though.
Right.
Right.
Now sometimes I like to take it a little far, and I kind of mess with those people. And I'll ask them questions like, "What area is that?"
Yeah.
Even though I know I shouldn't be talking to them.
Right.
I'll ask, "What area is that?" Oh, you know, in Texas. Yeah, it's a small state.
Yeah.
Is there other option other than like a code word, like, could you be like, if they're claiming to be your family or something, could you just say, yeah, let me call you right back, like, I'll get back with
Absolutely.
you, and just hang up, and then call your person back and, you know,
Yes.
verify, you know?
Now, in the case of the story I gave you, this was, I was arrested, so this is my one phone call, so you couldn't.
Oh, yeah,
And that's how they try to get around you saying, let me call you back.
right.
But yes, if it's not that scenario,
I'm just trying to-
absolutely.
I'm trying to think of how to talk to like my parents or my grandparents, you know, to like
Old school.
help them to
Or
not
your
fall,
kids.
yeah, or your kids, like not fall into that situation, you know?
Well,
Or ask them a question that you know is information that is not on social media somewhere. At least it's a decent fallback if you don't have a code word set.
Right, I feel like I need to have a meeting with my
I
parents.
know, I was seriously.
I actually recommend that you do.
Yeah. Yes.
well, I can tell you about the getting the arrested phone call, because I had a colorful brother-in-law, let's say. And if he calls me from
Oh, thank you.
after one of his incidents with the local law enforcement, it's always, will you accept a collect call from?
Right.
So,
I did it. I have one of those.
there you go.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a giveaway. If somebody's calling you from, and saying they're in jail,
They're not gonna need bail money unless they're in a running.
Yes, it is normally preceded by, will you accept a collect call?
Yeah, exactly.
However, AI is smart.
Yeah.
They can
They
absolutely add that to the
absolutely
phone
add
call.
that. yeah.
Think about it. They ask if you're willing to accept a collect call, and you say yes, and all of a sudden the other person starts talking, but there's no immediate confirmation that it was truly a collect call.
Exactly.
So you still have to be leery of that. And that's it. It's all, they do things to make it as familiar as possible or as urgent as possible, so you don't have time to think, you just have to act. Was there another question over here?
I'm just blown
Yes,
away.
ma'am.
Yes, not a long time ago, I received a call about a person. My phone shows me my same phone number on the front. And I answered because it was weird. It was something for me, like I see it, you know, calling somebody from my same phone number. And I answered, and they told me if I can confirm my social security number. And
Red flag, red flag.
yeah, and it was weird for me, and I said, from where is this? And he said, we are calling for IRS department.
No.
And I remember my CPA, he always told me,
They will not call
they
you.
send you a letter
Yeah, they don't call
by
you.
mail. So I'm gonna answer. And I say, well, thank you so much, I'm on the way, you know, to hang up. He said, wait a minute,
Block.
I just need to confirm your name. You are Maria? They know my name and my phone number. So the only thing I do that day is just go to the Social Security office and tell them what's going on. And yeah, this is very normal to get the Social Security number.
You know, back in the day, we had the yellow pages and the white pages, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can look up anybody, okay, if your number was unlisted, but you can look up almost anybody's phone number. They're still there, they're just online. So it's still out there. It's still there. Some of the other things we've actually addressed and talked about, threats of loss without action, compelling offers. These are all the things that they try to get you to do immediate reactions with and jump in there. Let's talk about a couple of definitions here real quick. Everybody's familiar with phishing, right? Where you put a worm on the hook, and throw it in the water, and you just wait and see what happens. Right? Pay the hook, see what happens. There's also phishing with a PH. This is now where we're talking about digital cyber. This is where words are overlapping a little bit. Sorry about that. Broadcast email messages to individuals to reveal personal information in order to click a link. Again, we're still phishing. We're just doing it digitally. Spearfishing, another sport out there where you target specific fish. Right now, I'm not just throwing a hook in the water. I'm actually in the water, and I'm looking for a specific fish that I want to capture. Spearfishing with a PH is very similar, and that is that the individuals are being targeted specifically. So when people call and say, "What's your name?" Or how about they'll send an email to an organization, to the CEO, to the CFO, that would require the other one to respond. What they're looking for, and believe it or not, they will sometimes invest months in gathering data.
Wow.
They're looking for things like when you forwarded that email to the CEO, Jeff, did you say, "Hey Jeff"? Did you say, "Hey buddy"? Did you say, "Mr. whatever"? And now they have inside information that they can now spoof and look like they're sending an email from me.
Wow.
And they'll send it to Jeff using the "Hey buddy" that he's used to seeing from me, and it becomes familiar. So not talking to them, once again, generally speaking, great idea. The more information, they get a lot of information that seems very, very innocent.
I love it when they call and say, "We're with AT&T and your account is coming up for renewal." No.
It's all kinds.
They're all out there.
We love this.
Joel was saying if they would put a third of the effort and energy into doing good, I mean, what a wonderful world it would be, It's
I
crazy.
guess it don't pay as well.
Yeah, right?
So is it a good idea on my website to take my name off of the website?
This is where it comes down to a balance, right? Depending on your industry, your market that you're in, there's got to be a balance somewhere of, you need that reputation, that recognition. The smaller the town, the more likely we are to put our names on the website and all that kind of stuff. So I would never tell you that you should remove yourself from the website, but I will tell you that you need to be a little more diligent than the CEO that doesn't have their name on the website.
And I get emails with my name on them all the time, but I know these people have no clue.
So on your
And if you
website,
go by,
I was gonna say, on your website, does it have your email address, or is there a form for people to fill out?
There's both ways. There's my name and email address.
You might remove your email address and have them use the form that go, right?
Okay.
So that it's not on the
Where it
or
says,
use an info app.
info at, yeah. That's
Oh,
right.
yeah, that's
email,
true.
and then you know that you have your actual email that if it comes there, it's probably somebody real.
Okay.
But
but some of them are fake too, I get them all the time.
some,
Like through my website, I get fake ones
oh yeah.
all the time. Is that what you were talking about? Like where they have to do their name, what they're wanting, their
Yeah,
email?
that's just gonna happen, but at least they're not, they don't have your information.
Yeah, I got the most craziest one today. Well, listen to this one.
Oh no.
This is Sandra Womack. Oh wait, wrong one.
Oops, sorry, Sandra.
It was talking about like Bonnie and Clyde is fixing to come to our Waco office, and we were like, that was,
They did.
that's what I'm saying. It was really off the wall through the
That's not
emails.
obvious.
Yeah.
Some people just have too much time on their hands.
That's what I'm
Right,
saying.
you're like, what are you trying to get from this?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what did they get? Because if we could tell it was stupid.
Right.
It's not real.
It's
Bonnie and
obvious,
Clyde.
but you're like, what are you doing? Like, what is it that you're trying to get?
Curiosity, somebody to reply.
Are we that
And then I can
organized?
ask more
Good job.
questions.
Right.
One thing I would say on your email, are you using your domain as an email server, or are you using Gmail or Yahoo?
Outlook.
Huh?
I use
Outlook?
Outlook.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
Outlook, all of those are on, cloud-based servers that, are run by Microsoft or Google or that. So they've got a lot of security and protection around that. They still get spoofed. If you keep, that's the way I tell my clients to do it, just keep your company stuff, generate your emails on your company domain instead of using, and use your Hotmail or your Outlook for your personal.
Gotcha, okay.
And that way you can keep those two separate.
Okay, thank you.
I have a Gmail account that I use for signing up for things and nothing else.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't communicate through it. It's just because now if I ever have to go back and, what was that?
Yes.
I gotta hit the link to re-register because I haven't used that password forever or whatever else. I can go back and access it, it's still there.
Yeah.
But I ignore the mailbox unless I just hit register and I go check it to get the information.
Right.
And that's all I use it for. It is not used for anything else. Anything that comes there, I ignore.
Thank you.
You know, it's just another way to kind of get around that. But this is some of the stuff that we were just talking about. Max was talking about with spoofing. One of the most common things that's spoofed is the display name. And I apologize once again, this is scaled out a little bit. But the display name in this particular case up here, you all see it. Normally the email comes in and says Lee Wise, and then it may or may not have the email address after that. The Lee Wise part, piece of cake. Yeah, I can go in and change that in Outlook right now and just make myself Bob Smith. So just because it says Justin Huffaker, that's my boss, so I'll have to pick on him. So just because it says Justin Huffaker at the front, that is not part of the email address. That does not mean anything secure, official at all. This is the email address. It consists of the full username and the email domain. So the Justin Huffaker that's in front of that, though, you can change that all you want. Somebody mentioned the phone number. The phone number that they were using was your own phone number. Up until, so we sell unified communication phone systems as well. Up until 10 months ago, or about a year ago, I could actually set whatever phone number I wanted to use in that phone system to make an outbound phone call as my caller ID. Literally any phone number. I could put your cell phone number down for my caller ID if I wanted to. Now the government changed with the anti-spam laws about a year ago, and they actually made that illegal. So the company we use took that ability away.
And you still have managed SIPs out there, though.
But there are companies out there that aren't in the U.S. or are willing to escape the law that can still make those changes. It's not legal, but they could still physically do it.
And they do it all the time.
And they do. That's why you get that spam call that you ignore, and then all of a sudden you answer one day because it's a different phone number and it's the same people. Yeah, because you ignored it the last 3, so they changed the phone number. But they changed the display of the phone number.
You get a phone call from someone that, you just called me? I'm like, no. Yeah, you did. Your number's on my list. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, somebody spoofed that number. I didn't call you. Yes, you did. Here's your number. And I'm like, so sorry.
Or
I'm telling you.
that somebody calls you, Chris Miller was calling you. You answer the phone and it's some person that's not Chris Miller.
Right.
And you go, does Chris Miller know that you stole his phone number? I'm just curious.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
Why would you think that I would do business with somebody that stole somebody else's phone number? I don't care what you're selling, you're not selling it to me. Love you, bye.
Unfortunately, not everybody realizes that it was a stolen number or a spoofed name or a spoofed display.
Or they think it's a person.
They think it is. And again, it's getting even more scary and more serious with the AI and deep fake videos and audio. That all of a sudden now you get a phone call and it actually sounds like Chris Miller. So we've got to be careful. Pick up the phone. If there's just that slightest gut, just that tingle in your gut, that there's something odd about this call. Even if you don't want to offend your friend and say, hey, I don't know that this is you, let me call you back. Just make an excuse. You know, I got something on the stove, somebody's ringing the doorbell, whatever. Let me call you right back. Call you back in 5 minutes.
You're a nice
I
guy.
can't call them.
I just hang up on him.
Did you know, on my personal phone?
I'm in sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On my personal phone, unless you're in my contact list, my phone doesn't answer.
And it comes up spam now, why is that? I mean, why?
It doesn't matter.
Or it's just potential spam.
I tell them, I say, you text me
Yeah.
and let me know who you are, and then if I'm.
You can report phone numbers as spam, and if enough people report it, they end up on a list with AT&T or Verizon.
And always block, block, block,
And
block.
then they mark it as spam, just as a general job, is what happened there. All right, let's see. So let's talk about some of the spoofing techniques. So yes, it's actually not hard to spoof your email where if I send you an email, I can make it look like it's coming from somebody else. But it's actually quite difficult for me to receive an email that you sent to somebody else. So what they do is spoofing, a lot of times it will be just different things they use, like character similarity. So if you look at those first 2 addresses under assessment number 1, what's the difference? Would you have noticed that at 8-point font on your top line of the email? Probably, probably not. It depends. Depends on if you're looking for it. These are some of those red flags. What about the next one? Number 2. The top email is actually a correct email. What's the difference here?
The one.
And what's the difference here?
An L and an I.
Capital I and lowercase l.
I think we're, capital I.
So ABC II or LLP IIP.
Oh, they look the same to me.
Yeah, they look exactly the same, that's why I was like.
Yeah.
So how
It's
do you
subtle.
check that? The only difference really is the spacing. But how do you check that? How do you know? There's a couple of ways you can check it. Number 1, again, pick up the phone call. Number 2, if you'll notice over here, it's a little small probably, but you can actually see that these are I's and these are L's in a different font.
Yeah.
You could highlight, copy, and paste it into Word. Change the font. See if they're just double check. On the one down at the bottom, this one to me is a little more obvious because of the capital or the O's versus the word. I guess it could be a capital. No, there's zeros. Because it could be a capital O as well, and it looks very similar. But these are again. Just pay attention. And if something feels weird about the email, then start scrutinizing everything else about that email. So, how can we investigate a link in an email, that display name, right? They can make it say whatever they want as the display name, but the real email address is there behind the hyperlink. How can you investigate that? One of the ways is to mouse over. You guys have done this before on websites. You put your mouse over the link and it pops up a little window and shows you what the real address that it's going to is. The recommendation, however, is take your fingers off the buttons so you don't accidentally click. Whether somebody startles you, whether you sneeze, whether it's a very sensitive button on a mouse. Just move your hand to the side, move your mouse around like this. It's a great way to just investigate those without taking a chance of accidentally clicking on it. So, this is talking about the same thing, taking your fingers off the link. Excuse me. So this is kind of what you'll see. You put your mouse over, and it'll pop up. You can see the actual link that it's actually going to go to if you click it. So this one just happens to be a DataMax Texas link. So we're feeling pretty confident that that's a successful one. Here's another email though, and this was a real email that showed up that says it's our DataMax Little Rock office or domain. The link looks very realistic, but when you mouse over it, it came from jadeyoga.ru. But you can't see that because you can make the link say whatever you want.
Exactly.
Surely you've seen a link that says, click here. There's a link behind that, but they can make the link, the hyperlink, look and say whatever they want it to say. So you have to look at what's behind it. And investigating, again, fingers off the buttons. So phishing, there's just a couple of different examples. Here's an Amazon product highlight. This one says that it's who it's coming from. There's your display name right there, Amazon product. If you look over here, you'll see that this is from Grab Brought Attorney or Family Dental. It's hard to see this thing. Again, display name can be anything. Look at the actual email address. So that's just kind of giving you a couple of examples. If you want to get that plug-in USB spy camera, go to Amazon yourself. Don't click the link in the email if that's a product you're interested in. Same concept on this one over here. All right, so this was an email that Justin Huffaker, my boss, actually did in fact receive from Richard McCarville with the City of San Diego. Justin actually used to work at the City of San Diego and knows Richard. So they got briefed somewhere somehow, and his name was in the address book or whatever, so he got the email on it. Another way that you can investigate, somebody was asking earlier, well, what if I just click it? 'Cause if you hit reply to an email, ultimately, they couldn't have created some kind of infection or anything. You're safe in that environment. Just don't hit send and give them information. In this particular case, they had a different respond email than what was actually sent by. So this is rmccarvell@sandiego.gov. And this one is the same, except it's at san-diego with 2 i's.us. People don't know what the URL or what the domain name is for every city, whether it's .texas.gov or texas.us or whatever the case is. So they should match. If they don't match, red flag. So this is an example of this is a real world situation that happened to a company that became a customer of ours a few months after this took place. This was one of the main impetus for that.
Oh, wow.
CFO, in essence, I don't remember if it was CFO or, but basically what it boils down to is CEO sends an email to the CFO and says, hey, I need a copy of every employee's W-2 in PDF format. Please send it over to me.
Wow, no.
400 employees.
Wowzers.
And unfortunately, they did it.
They reached.
And they didn't even know anything was wrong for another 3 or 4 months.
Oh my goodness.
Because it wasn't until the employees received their W-2s, did their tax returns, and got denied for a duplicate tax return. So every employee in the organization basically was unable to do their tax returns.
Oh my goodness.
And they had to go through and work through it with the IRS, work through it with the government. Now here's the crazy part to this. If I am the CEO who supposedly sent the email to the CFO, Jeff, this is about how far their desks were from each other.
Yeah.
Just one wall right here, and they sat in a corner. They could almost lean and see each other. And he could have just simply said, hey Jeff, what's this email about? And it would have prevented that.
Wow. See, and me as a bookkeeper, I'd be thinking, Ronnie, why do you want that information?
And I respect that, but unfortunately, there's a lot of people that won't pick up the phone and do that. Because, and by the way, the bigger the organization, the less likely they are. Because there's that separation between a accountant and the CEO.
Yeah.
Or the salesperson and the CEO that just got us, hey, I want to reward your team, but I don't want to tell everybody, so go get me some gift cards. They don't want to pick up the phone and call and go, hey, what is this about? Is this real? You know, they don't want to look like the non-committed employee, the non-team player.
You're the non-team player until it happens to you. In 2021, it happened to me. And the way I found out that my little old Outlook email that had our company domain on it was one of our actual clients that is a builder that purchased from us. He got an email from me, which I never send emails like that, but said we had changed our bank information and to send his payment to such and such routing number and account number. Well, this guy, I mean, nice man. Okay, he picks up his mobile phone and he starts going to his bank. He starts putting in his information and he sends it, and the bank shuts it down. He does it a second time. The bank shuts it down. He does it a third time. So then he picks up and calls the bank. Why are you shutting this down? I need to send them the money for my cabinets. And they're like, where you're trying to send this, we've already been notified from the FBI that this is a spam. This is not whatever. So he then, after he tries to do this, which he had never sent an EFT or an ACH just for payment whatsoever. He had always just mailed us a check like normal.
Right.
He then picks up the phone and calls his salesman and says, hey, Brian, blah, 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 blah. And Brian is like, that doesn't sound like Daphne. So Brian calls Daphne and says something to her. So then I call Max, and I'm like, what the hell? Let me tell you, it was a nightmare. They were from South Pretoria, Africa, and they had spun up a virtual machine with my email. I couldn't even see those emails that were going. I even asked him to send me a copy of the email. I couldn't even get the copy of the email he got from me because they had blocked me from getting it. These were some serious people. And because I send invoices through QuickBooks, guess what? I don't like anybody anymore.
That's a lot of fun online, isn't it?
I still like people, I just don't trust them really.
I trust nobody.
It's hard.
I trust my
It's
husband.
hard.
And
But
it's like everybody else, you're up for
But that's
grabs.
the point of this. That's the point of days like today, talking about these things are, there's opportunities for you to see red flags,
Yes.
to look for things and identify that, oh, I never thought about that. But if anybody had that epiphany at some point today, then I'm happy for you.
Yes.
That's all I really care about. Is somebody
You should be
now
questioning
just look a little
everything.
more. Absolutely. And we're going to talk about, right now I'm kind of giving you the bag. We're going to talk about some ways to layer and help prevent some of these things outside of just anecdotal comments that we've made so far. One of the things about this particular situation that's not on the screen, I will tell you right now, this is one of those scenarios where they did some spear phishing. And the email from the CEO to the CFO, the CFO was a huge Texas Ranger fan and went to a big game the day before. They were friends, they worked together for years. And so the email started with, hey bud, by the way, how was the game yesterday? Did you enjoy yourself something similar?
Oh, wow.
And so it just felt like a very real correspondence. Because he had on his social media that he went to the game. He was so excited to take the day off and go to the game. It was a big game. So that's how they knew he went to the Raider game.
Wow.
Social media is a great thing. Jeff would kill me if I said stop doing social media. Social media has got its place.
Amen, exactly.
But be careful. When me and my wife are cruisers, we like going on cruises. And I have
Please slow down your guns so they can go rob you.
convinced my wife to not post pictures and where we're at until we get back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we're broadcasting to everybody that there's an empty house.
Yes.
Do what you want. Right? We have to be cognizant of these little things. Who has ever left their garage door open for more than 5 minutes without being in the garage? Whatever it is. Have you ever programmed a garage door remote? Takes about 30 seconds, in all fairness, if you know what you're doing. So the bad actors will watch. They'll see the garage door open, that somebody leaves open on a regular basis. You know, I open the door and I go in and do whatever I'm doing, then go back out and I'll leave it open for 5 minutes. They will walk in, hit the button, program the remote, and walk away.
Wow.
Now they just have to wait for you to not be home and have a key to your house. Especially because most people don't lock the door between the garage and the house if it's an interior garage. They have a key. They don't even have to break in. We just have to be cognizant of some of those things and be smart about it. Yes, ma'am.
I know we're running out of time, but I just wanted to mention, you were mentioning social media, like I said, it works if you know, but like all these people posting their children's first day of school and checking in at the school.
Yep.
I'm like, wow, I told my kids, I'm like, no, do not ever let them know, you know, so anyway, that was an example too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Be smart about social media, no question. I'm gonna skip this one because we are running out of time. This was just a real time, my boss, like me, likes to mess with these people, and he knew it was fake, and he just kind of went through the process with them and was messing with them, just wasting a little bit of their time.
I love it.
Scam emails every day, be careful. Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Citigroup. Why do they use Wells Fargo? Because 20% of the population uses Wells Fargo. So all they gotta do is send it out to 10,000 people, and 2,000 or 2,500 of those people might respond.
Wow.
Be careful. Amazon.
Name, you know.
Who's gotten the, UPS, we can't deliver, so we don't have a complete address, please
So
sign
you
it.
have all that time.
All the time.
Then how did you get my phone number?
Yeah, exactly.
All you had was a partial address and you had my phone number, where'd you get my phone number? So this is something that we recommend doing, guys. Your IT department should be able to do this for you. These are automatic. If an email does not come from somebody on your domain, dynamaxinc.com, it will put external email. There's multiple different ways you can do the message. It's a great red flag indicator. If you receive an email from somebody in your organization and it doesn't have that, then there's a red flag. It's not hard.
Oh, yeah.
Please.
It's a good idea.
It's a quick, easy one. It's just one more little layer for a red flag. Copiers, a great another one.
Pain in my
All these papers sitting on a copier. So we use Uniflow, secure print, in our office. So if I send something to the copier to print, it doesn't print. I have to walk it with my badge and then hit the print button, and that prints out. So nothing just sits on the copier. I know we want to trust the employees that we work with, and most of the time we can. But there's always that disgruntled employee. There's also that vendor that's walking through the business. There's delivery people. Who knows who's walking through there?
Y'all dealing with the HP printer? Anyway, just,
No.
that's a new point of contact. Just so y'all don't know, your printers are vulnerable to attack.
Your multifunctioning printers, copiers, it's a computer
Wow.
with a big hard drive.
Matter of pain in the butt.
And by the way, every copy you make and every print you make is stored on the hard drive. When you get rid of your copier and get a new one, make sure the hard drive is getting destroyed, wiped, whatever.
And the hard drive is a chip, so. Just so you know.
So, does anybody remember Equifax breach in 2017? In 2017, we had 325 million approximate people in the United States. There were 147.9 million people's data breached in that. So, it can be big, it can be small. We had a company that, I'm not picking on ladies, it just happened to be a lady in this case, who used her work email and her work password on a shoe shopping website.
Oops, I did
The shoe website got breached. They saw a business email address and said, let's try it. She just happened to be what's considered a domain administrator on their network.
Oh, shit.
Oh my goodness.
And they locked down all the data. Turn on transaction notifications for your credit cards, guys. Most credit cards have it. If you get a text message whenever a charge happens, if you're sitting there, laying in bed watching TV, sitting on the couch, whatever, and you see a charge just went through at Heartache Barbecue and you're at home, you got real-time notifications.
Have you met my wife?
Password management. If you have one of these, do not say yes.
That was actually me. That was me when I started at AMAX 2 years ago.
customers on a regular basis. When the customer says, "I'll leave the computer unlocked for you," please don't. We have logins we can get in with.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, we've had it happen where we go out and we can't get into that computer. Typically speaking, they flip over the keyboard. There's either a password that's there, or it's on a sticky note, or you open the first drawer and it's in there.
Not in my world.
You don't think the bad actors know this? You don't think the employee that doesn't like you doesn't know this? They probably do. So be careful with your passwords.
Right there on the screen.
I know.
Don't repeat passwords. No simple passwords. We don't want to use, ASDF. We don't want to use numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't want to use the same password for multiple websites.
Guilty.
Use passphrases.
I'm all out of passwords.
Alright, so here's the problem with passwords, right? I have to change it every 30, 40 days, 45 days. I forget the password. I can't remember what it is. I gotta write it down somewhere. Password keepers are a great solution for that. So Security is one right there. Password keeper basically creates a very complex password and then we'll type it in for you. But you don't have to memorize it. But it's unique to each individual piece of tool used. They have it for desktop computers, they have it for mobile devices. Look into password keepers. Not to say they're 100%, but it is another layer.
iPhone keychain, everything.
As long as they don't get hacked.
Which does happen. They can. But usually you know about it pretty quick and you can go in and change your passwords. Whereas when you have the same password for every website,
Right.
and they find one, they usually check out what's going on and look what they can get into before they actually do it, so that they don't alert you.
I was working on the weekend because I get more done when nobody's bothering me. And I have an app that I listen to music to on my computer, and I couldn't hear anything. And I'm like, couldn't make my earbuds work. I'm like, what? And looked up and said someone else is listening. I'm like, no, let me listen. Change that password. I mean, while I was on the app.
So I like passphrases.
Oh, I have
I
one.
love rock and roll 2020, exclamation point, whatever. The longer the password, the harder it is to hack, the harder it is to remember, unless you use passphrases. I love my daughter Alexis. Whatever you want to use.
Those are too common.
You can even put the spaces in. The spaces count as special characters. So you can type it like
On
a
some
normal sentence.
Some of them.
Microsoft.
Yes.
Space, and several others. Most.
Well, some of them they got away from using strip slash.
Right.
That's a good observation.
If it won't let you, take spaces out. But it's a good way to do passphrases. There's back to some of the password keepers. There's a couple different ones that are out there. Ransomware. Ransomware is basically where they lock down your computer and they lock down the data when you can't access it. There's ways around that with cloud-based backup solutions and such like that. So for a business strategy, you absolutely should have offsite. External hard drives is not acceptable anymore.
Correct.
Too much vulnerability.
That's why I'm here.
Education. The most important thing, I can't talk enough about education. Two-factor authentication, another layer.
I get it. I just get it.
Secure print we talked about, where you go up and scan your badge to print. It's just kind of reviewing some of those things. Talking about the backup strategy once again. Working with that offsite cloud, not using external hard drives, stuff like that. Absolutely good, important. If you have a question, let me know. Cybersecurity training. Hacker University is something that we provide to all of our customers. That we have cybersecurity training in there for them, so they can go in and learn more about it as well. The more we know, the better off we are. And then Duo, two-factor authentication. Two-factor or multi-factor authentication means I'm not just using a password, I'm using something else. We use Duo. I'll tell you right now, I type in my password on my computer. By the time I grab my phone, it already has the prompt up there, deny or approve. I hit approve. By the time I put my phone down, put my hands back on the keyboard, I'm logged in. It's that fast.
Wow. And all your
They're not
government things like IRS and all of those, they all have that.
Yes.
now.
And
And
not
all
all
your
created
banks.
equal. unfortunately, right? I hate going to my bank site because then I have to wait for a text message to come through.
It doesn't
Depending
take
on what kind of coverage I have in the area and whatever. That's why I like the Duo product. It's really fast. But if they don't have your phone, they can have your password and still not be able to get in your computer. That's where that really, really comes in.
Biometrics is good.
So, change the password management. So changing the password is still good, but it's not necessary every 30 to 45 days if you are using a multi-factor authentication. That has become industry standard now. In fact, a lot of companies have moved to a once every 6 months to a year before changing the password, because you have minimum 14 characters. It's a passphrase, you can remember it, but it's still really hard to brute force. Brute force attack basically is the computer says, AAA, nope, okay, let's try AAB. AAC, and it just goes through one letter after another. Don't hold me to these numbers, but because I can't remember the exact, but it was something similar to an 8-character password with uppercase, lowercase number, special characters. With the computers that we have today, the supercomputers we have today, can be brute force attacked in about 37 minutes.
What?
Yeah.
14 character takes 127 years.
Really?
It's exponentially longer. Like I said, those aren't, I don't remember what those are, but it's that level of difference. It's not 37 minutes on 8 and then 16 is 74 minutes. It's goes into the hundreds of years.
Is authenticator software good to use?
That's your multi-factor authentication.
Same thing?
Absolutely.
Where it makes the code up?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I don't create a password unless it's at least 17 characters.
I would suggest you use one or the other.
The industry standard now is 14. As long as it requires uppercase, lowercase number, and special character.
Yes.
Or at least 3 of the 4.
If you're using
No, it's all-
Microsoft, then use Microsoft Authenticator. If you're using
I'm just telling you, I am leery.
Oh, okay.
I know we went a little over, I apologize.
No, it's amazing.
Any questions?
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
All right, guys. Well, if anybody has any questions afterwards, feel free, let me know. Happy to answer.
Woo!